I was really looking forward to this film with a lot of excitement. But what I eventually got, this was my reaction after the film. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And what do I even say? Well, for starters, the film that we are going to be discussing is the new Tamil film Thug Life, starring Kamal Haasan and directed by Ratnam. Oh man, this is going to be a very heartbreaking kind of a video, because Nayakan has to be one of the best films that I've watched, one of the best gangster films that I've watched, and it featured this combo. Thug Life, oh my god, it was absolutely almost a train wreck, I would say. If not for smaller moments, almost a train wreck. Now, when you hear the term Thug Life, the first thing that comes to your mind is, it's like a meme template that is there. It essentially stands for a person who still stands upright despite all the atrocities that are imposed on him. Here, the definition of thug life is a little different here, as you would see in the opening sentence of the film. And there you actually will see, the character of Kamal Haasan actually mouthing the dialogue on how he's cheated death many times. It almost felt like a sequence from the Final Destination series. I'm sorry to say that, but that is when also the magic of Mani Ratnam, beg your pardon, sets in that incredible flashback sequence, which is shot in monochrome. The two gang members that are there. There is a little conversation happening between backbiting and stuff before tragedy occurs, and tragedy strikes, and one tragedy strikes and it gives rise to another also. And that is the basic premise here as far as Thug Life is concerned. But coming to the story and screenplay, if I have to really deconstruct Thug Life, it will probably be like a Shakespearean tragedy. And that is what I would always say. It's a Shakespearean tragedy, almost like a cross between two Shakespearean plays. One is Julius Caesar and one is Hamlet. Now, if you're familiar with these two works, you would exactly know what the key ingredients are. One is the character dynamics between the characters, which would actually lead to several situations for the various characters while being a contributing factor to the drama. The second is the emotional core, rising, which also conflicts the protagonist in the individual cases here in the Shakespearean plays that are there, in his sole quest for revenge, which is seen in Hamlet. This is the issue also with Thug Life, by the way. It doesn't know what it stands for. It has an identity crisis of its own. Is it a gangster drama? Is it a father-son drama against the backdrop of a gangster film? Is it a commercial entertainer in the backdrop of a gangster film? Is it just about, who gets the throne at the end of the day in the wake of a gangster film? It's a gangster film, we know, but what is the core emotion? The core emotion for me, if I had to pick the core emotion, it would be that father-son bond that follows in the film. The father-son bond which arises out of an accident that takes place, a tragedy that takes place. That was the core ingredient for the film. But the focus was just not on that. It just meanders in its focus while focusing on some of the other characters, like you get to see the protagonist's relationship with his wife, who, despite knowing of his affair, still is bickering but also loving towards him. His relationship with his two henchmen, his relationship with his brother, everything is highlighted, but at the end of the day, nothing substantial comes out of this. And that is the issue, because even the core relation between the father, which is played by Kamal Haasan, and the son, which is played by Silamvarasan, both of them, that was the correlation, because that was the key of it. And to add to that, there was an additional conflict of an exterior gang that takes place, which has a Shakespearean tragedy of his own in his family. But nothing really comes together in this rather listless gangster film, I would say, which really flatters to deceive, I would say. It's absolutely doesn't really emotionally connect with you at any given space. The emotional connect is just not there at all throughout the first half also, and I'm coming to the second half where things get from bad to worse. Some of the moments in the screenplay actually have an emotional connect, and when it chooses to be emotional, that is when the drama scores also. There's a scene in which the protagonist Shakti who's gets to know about his daughter wanting to marry a guy from a lower caste, and actually accepts her, and the groom that is there. Good emotional moment. There's another involving him again, Kamal Haasan, who actually wants to convince his wife, who's actually wiped off of all his memories, to convince him that he's still her wife. Good emotional moment again. The climax also, I will not reveal it, but again a good emotional moment. But the idea to go from point A to point B without pausing and allowing the emotions to be imbibed into the psyche of the viewers is the downfall of this film. It just doesn't want to pause at any point. It just wants to go from one event to another, to another, to another, to another, and that is one of the issues of the film. This is unlike the film Malik, the Malayalam film Malik, if you remember. The character of Farhad Fazil, and how all the equations come into play and make a very textured kind of a drama. Thug Life is not that. It does not create any sort of environment, which brings me to the rather ridiculous second hour. Oh my god. The second hour is absolutely a train wreck in every sense of the word, because just random things happened. It just, the drama could have been so much more deeper, but it just wishes to be the surface level that it is. Just a revenge thriller, few emotional scenes here and there, but other than that, oh my god. And if you look closely, what happens is, if you look at the character arcs, some of the character arcs, you would see that this is also a Nayakan character arc. The Nayakan character arc, a boy who goes to a city, gets lost, gets adopted, becomes the henchman, becomes the main gangster till his eventual fate that follows. That is the exact story, but from a different point of view. Now you tell me, how in the world are you going to buy this film when it tries to serve you old wine in a new bottle, and that too not done too well? It's almost like a Shakespearean tragedy within a Shakespearean tragedy, and that itself is a messed up kind of a concept, because then the focus does not remain on one kind of an event. It's just mished and mashed, and eventually makes for a disastrous to watch, I would say. Very average, just about average, if I have to take into account some of the emotional scenes that are there. Some moments of glory, I would say, are in those chase sequences, but that's about it about the story and screenplay. Coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music, and the direction. The dialogues, yes, they are conversational, but they are also meandering. I mean, there is so much of unnecessary information that doesn't necessarily create a subplot of its own, which is actually a dumping ground for the viewers. It's almost like being imposed on the viewers, with a series of expositions that really don't add up, after a point. Even when things, just go from bad to worse, and it's just one dimensional after point, you actually wonder on what the relevance of some of the dialogues that were in the first hour actually were. It didn't contribute to the second hour at all, and that's also a big issue for me. The music, I like the music by A.R. Rahman. I think it was pretty good. The songs, some of the songs, stall the drama, but I didn't seem to mind it. It was still good. The BGM is also pulsating, I would say. It's also very, very good. But the use of BGM is where I had an issue with. The use of BGM, it wasn't used, well. I'll give you an instance. There are two characters who are fighting, and there's a pulsating BGM that is blaring against, the background. But it's so poorly shot, and it's almost the movements, the action choreography so slow with such patchy editing. Oh my god, the editing is next level bad, that it just dilutes the impact of the BGM that was trying to spice up the drama. And oh my god, that was the main issue. How could they not figure that out? Cinematography, barring that monochrome sequence that is there at the beginning, which was wonderfully shot, the frames are flat as a pancake. It's flat. To give you a perspective, they go from different cities, from Delhi to, there is a Kathmandu, there's another city called Hilsa that they are going across. I didn't get the flavor of any of the cities. It almost felt like a green screen kind of a city version of the film, and that was such a shame, because the frames just did not add depth to the drama at all. And it's so ridiculous, to actually have your film being shot on the green screen as opposed to real locations. They tried to make it a real location, but no, it just did not have the depth, of reflecting that. Editing, as I said, is very patchy, very poor, doesn't take into account the emotions from one scene to another, almost acting like a reel. It's cut like a reel, the film. And I think this is a worrying sign also. It cannot come in the cinematic angle of it, the real culture that is there. It's okay for a fan tribute in films like Good, Bad or Ugly, and I think there was another one. But other than that, I mean, this sort of a editing pattern is a strict no-no as far as I'm concerned. Director Mani Ratnam has to be one of my favorite filmmakers, probably the top 10 filmmakers that this country has ever produced. Oh my god, this has to be the weakest Mani Ratnam film in a while, and I think that is the kind of relevancy that the man has shown up until now, from the time I was growing up to the 2025s that we are in. But I have to be honest, the direction is just not up to the mark here. It just does not account for the character arcs, the characterization, the world building, which was, the prowess of a master like Mani Ratnam. Even the emotions that he brings are good, but not enough. Not enough because of the pacing of the film. And this is probably the weakest Mani Ratnam film that I've seen probably in my lifetime. I don't know whether you've seen any worse films of Mani Ratnam. Let me know in the comments. But otherwise, a prolific director. I mean, I'm nobody to criticize him. I'm not even a speck of dust in front of him. But I have to be true to my viewers and say that, oh, this wasn't up to the mark at all. Coming to the performances, I think the performances are decent, but casting members from all film industries doesn't make this a pan-India success by any stretch of imagination. By that I mean that talented actors like Rajshri Deshpande or Rohit Sharaf or even Ali Fazal, they all are bloody wasted. And that's such a shame, in a film like this. What's even more shameful is that there are talented actors from the Tamil film industry who are also, wasted, like Ashok Selvan or Trisha. They just do not add up. Aishwarya Lakshmi, by the way, makes a mark. But the other Malayalam actors, George George and Bhagavati Perumal, no, they don't, necessarily manage to leave a mark, It's only because of their tracks and their prowess in acting that they actually make an impact, but otherwise their characters are so sketchy that they just do not leave any mark, any sort of imagination whatsoever. Abhirami does a good job in the film, contributes to some emotional arcs. Silamvarasan, I think he does a pretty good job. He's a solid actor, I would say, and I think he does a pretty good job, that action sequence, by the way, featuring him at the end, I think was very well choreographed also, I would say. Kamal Haasan also does a good job, but I can't help but think, that Lokesh Kanagaraj brought out the best in him in Vikram, and you can see the last two outings of Kamal Haasan, Indian 2 and now this Thug Life. I think he's getting into that Mohanlal phase, and I hate to say that. Mohanlal is just out of that phase, but of not really making an impact with the storytelling that is there. Although his performances may be good, Mohanlal's performances were good, but it did not necessarily come together in the film, and he's getting into that phase. He needs to step out of that very soon, very soon. Kamal Haasan does a good job, but well, the script is a big letdown. So overall, I felt that Thug Life is a Shakespearean tragedy gone wrong. It's a listless gangster drama, very heartbreaking to say that it's not up to the mark, and it's almost an average watch. If I have to be little generous about the emotional core in a few scenes that I landed, if that is the case, then it becomes an average watch. Otherwise, it's an absolute train wreck for me. Not up to the mark, not recommended. Thug Life. And it's quite a shame that the comeback of Kamal Haasan, the duo of Kamal Haasan and Mani Ratnam was with this film. It's kind of heartbreaking, I would say. Well, it is what it is, I would say. So if you're liking this video, please smash that like button. Feel free to also dislike the video if you don't agree with my opinion. You can also share your comments, opinions in the comment section below, and what did you make of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? How was the theatre experience? Whether my assessment is completely wrong, whether it connected, resonated with you, anything, and I'm open to all sort of discussions. This is just my personal opinion about the film. It need not be yours. It's perfectly fine. All opinions are welcome and celebrated in the umbrella of cinema. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. My detailed review of Thug Life is available on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S, the link of which is in the description box below. You can also follow me on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd and Nokia. All information is in the description box below. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I do write a lot. All information is present on my site and on my social media handles. I'll see you again soon with another video. Till then, take care of yourselves and thank you so much for your love and support. Cheers.